Hey everybody, OneManGarage. Starting to mess with the wagon. I've got to get this old bumper pulled off. See, that's from the old damage, from the old, I just call them grandma dents from probably the original owner. They tend to bust the corners of the car. That's why the old fenders were trashed. This side wasn't bad, but I've got a real good bumper from a parts car a while back. And before I took the car to paint, last year I'd got an original motor in it running good, and everything was good and smooth, and this carburetor's always idled great. It's original carburetor from 1970. And the car sat up for a little while last fall, and I had the hood off, but there wasn't any way to get water in it. I had the air cleaner on it, and I got a hole drilled in the base just to drain off, if any water got in the air cleaner, so it wouldn't go in the engine. And it got to where it wasn't idling, and I was like, took it to the body shop that way. Plus the battery was not holding a charge, so they had to keep jumping it. Plus it wouldn't idle, so it was a real pain in the butt. And so I got the car home and got a new battery the other day. The other one was like 2017, and it just wasn't doing it no more. So I was lucky to be able to warranty it out for free. I found the vacuum leak. See where that little plug is now? That, I guess, originally would be the vacuum modulator line for the transmission. That's like a quarter inch. It's probably the second largest vacuum diameter you'd have on manifold vacuum. So that was wide open. It was just killing the idle circuit. So before I got the carburetor off, I saw that, and I just luckily had a fresh plug nearby, and that fixed it. So anyway, we're good on that. Another thing I got done was I got the tail light lenses back in and was checking to make sure that the lights, still worked. I'll be driving it pretty soon. There's my LED dome light, by the way. Always recommend LED bulbs where you can. So looky there, we got some blinkage going on. So that's pretty good. That's the old hazards. That's always good for checking the high side of your bulbs for your brake lights. Need to oil that. I probably won't. So anywho, we're gonna take a break and then try to get the bumper off. Check in later. See ya. Well, got the bumper pivoted down so I can either get it out of the way and start hanging the fenders, or continue to work on the bumper, because I need to separate the brackets off the bumper so I can swap out to the other one. And then doing it this way, I can actually leave the wires plugged in, and at least the reinforcement brackets on the far side could stay. I should be able to get the impact down on these bolts here, hopefully. So the old Milwaukee 18 volt, get her done again. I use the good old handy ATF for my penetrator on that, so I can just give it a quick hit, because that actually uses a round-headed carriage bolt on the other side. So you kind of got to have those lubed, because if it binds halfway through, it's going to kick back and start spinning the carriage bolt, and you won't be able to hold the other side, and it'll really aggravate you and maybe ruin your day. So the dry ones up front, I didn't use ATF or spray, but they had the regular nut on each side, so I could hold a wrench on the other side. But just if you've got a bumper bolt or something with a carriage style, like the same as you have on the bumper ones that push through, those are chrome carriage bolts. So lube those, man, so that when you pop it, it goes right then on the first instant, because man, otherwise it bogs down and starts spinning, and the little square part inside starts stripping out, and that's no fun. So anyway, we'll see what happens from here. I gotta get these lenses brackets unhooked and slip those out of the way, and we'll continue later. So you can see here I've made a big mess with my ATF, and I really just used this because I didn't have any spray and didn't feel like driving to the store. But ATF is legit though. In my previous videos I mentioned that if you have one of those refillable old-fashioned little manual squirt little oil can things, you can take ATF, mix 50-50 with acetone, and then you can just mix that up at home. No aerosol, nothing, just the old trigger pump, and you can get all your stuff done with that, guaranteed. So instead of not showing it, we're gonna see if I already got the lens out, by the way. It's up here. So we're gonna try something. And that has not a carriage bolt. Let's do this one instead. This is a bumper bolt. So let's try. Will she go on the first try? I believe that's a free chicken dinner right there. So, okay, I'm gonna stop now so I don't embarrass myself. Well, we got all of them came off good on the passenger side. These center braces use a hex nut on the bottom, and they're already loose from the other side of the bumper bracket. So what we're gonna do is leave those on this bumper, and then once it's off the car, I'll swap them to the other bumper, just like you see it here, and then slip it back into place and just reverse the steps. All I've got left to drop from the car is these two here. Now that one, I think it dropped down and spun like we were talking about, so we'll just put that right there, or not. Let's see. Yeah, that one worked out just fine. So, telling you, man, lube the bolts. It's a real saver. And now we've got one more here. We'll just go ahead and put a finger there just to. Well, I guess that's off the car now. Alright, we'll check in later. So we got the other bumper, most of the bolts in, not tightened. Just propped it up with a board I had. Even though this is a very, very straight bumper, used one I had in the parts car that I got some other stuff from, like the hood that's going on here. I got like a gap right here to get the carriage bolt started. I was like, man, I need 3 hands to push and pull and get the nut but hold the carriage thing from the back. So then I remembered I had some vice grips. Man, vice grip, that's a great thing for the garage, you know. So just always remember vice grip when you're in the garage. So see, now get in there. Hold on. I haven't bought one of those phone stands. I don't care. I'm just doing what I gotta do. So, yeah. Hold the carriage bolt, install vice grips, and what do you know? Hand turn the nut, pull up the slack, carriage bolt's seated. And I'll probably torque that one with the vice grip on it. I'll do that one first, probably. I think. Not sure about their slots on some of this, so I'm gonna fiddle with this before I snug anything. We'll go from there. So I got all the bolts snugged up on the good bumper, which you can see here. This side's not smooshed. That was the main thing with the other bumper. And I've got to you know, get some of the parts trim. I've got the Cutlass emblems pushed in. I still got to do the side trim that goes with the doors. And then there's the marker lights, supposed to be the amber marker lights that go in the fenders. But you know, while I'm prepping those fenders, you got the 2 bottom of the fender bolts. You got those little nut clips. Well, this one over here is, it's bad. That's why that didn't come out. The rust broke. So I've got to get that out and replaced before I put the fender in, or I won't be able to tighten that up. And I got one just like it on the other side. So I'll probably be lubricating that and vice gripping the nut, and or maybe it'll fit the open-end wrench and try to get that out. So we're going to have to do that first. Hey, I was able to get both sides off, and I used a screwdriver and flipped the little clip nuts off. So the front one on both sides was good, could probably be reused. The rear one, which I think is more exposed to splash, water, rust from the road, was on both of them basically some little spot weld that holds the square nut to the clip fails when you go to tugging on them because it's such a small spot weld when we put them together. So obviously we've got to get some new clip nuts or 3/8 thread when you use new bolts too, so it's smooth on the install. So got to get those. Really should go ahead and get them before I try to finish any fenders and put them on. I guess hypothetically I could take the front two and use my one side and hang one fender. That's probably okay, and just use new bolts with it. But I need to source the clips, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, it was a 5/8 open end that fit the square, and then I used my handy little Harbor Freight Extendo breaker bar adjustable for hatchet. Pretty handy. So we'll get back at it. So I drug up the old fenders in front of the car where I'm working, and all the loose marker lights I had, the red lens marker lights, are for the rear on a Cutlass S. Looks like the right front from the wagon I can reuse. The left front was damaged. And then I had another right front, but these are all left and right. And then I went ahead and got the ones from my Rallye 350, since it's still apart, because I can buy the lenses and get new ones for it. And it looks like I scored. I have one functional one there. I can go ahead and swap it in and then repair this other one, I guess, and I think I'll be good. So we'll see what happens. Got to get these chrome pulled out and these little metal brackets in the fenders. Those have to be swapped out. The wheel, I don't guess I'm going to just worry about that. That's not really any good. And on a painted car, I don't know, that one's semi-usable, but it's got a gouge. So basically, I just got to get the chrome off the back of the fenders and swap out these top deals and get those bolted on the fenders, you know, these rear chromes and the marker lights. And of course the spear side trim still needs to go on. So, you know, the other ones are over there. So when those are fully dressed, and I think we can go get some Dorman spring nuts for the bottom of the fender in stock. You know, O'Reilly's carries them, no big deal. And then we'll just try to dress out these painted fenders and go from there. But of course, you know, I've mentioned Rallye 350 a couple times, so I thought, I guess I can go ahead and show more on that, because that was going to be a future episode once this frame finally gets blasted and painted, and so I can get the stainless brake lines and fuel lines on it. This has been off for over 4 years, maybe 5, I don't know. 6.5 years ago I bought 2 Rallye 350s. I always wanted one, and then I ended up scoring 2, but one was a junk parts car. And there it is, wing on the back, ram air hood, saw in the other videos in the other garage, 2-door post, F85 sport mirrors, the original wheels down there. That's a motor out of the Rallye 350 parts car. I actually ran it in the wagon briefly, just because it sat for a couple of years on the engine stand, and I just wanted to run it. And I'm going to go back and do a different cam, and those heads are ported and big valves and everything, you know, for that engine. Probably use do headers on this one, because it's got 391 gears, factory 4-speed, no air conditioning, heater only, bench seat. So it's kind of a stripped down drum brake, you know, just go fast, no luxury, you know, whatever. See those little red marker lights? Yeah, see, they go in the rear. So I'll just get new lenses or whatever I need, and this one gets put back together hopefully later this year. So yeah, the garage is a bit of a mess. I think once I get cars starting to bolt together, I'll have less parts to pick up. So just hope we can get that body back on the frame later this year, and that'll be awesome. If it just has a frame under it and I can lay the engine in it, I'll be really happy with that, besides getting the wagon and the Firebird going. Of course, we're supposed to have another race tomorrow I was going to run the truck again. I've been doing brackets in it at the Texas Muscle Car Club Challenge Series. And I had started off winning the first race and leading points, and then the last 2 races I didn't get to the final round, so I'm actually only 2 points from first place, just in third, but only 2 points down. So if it doesn't rain, we'll get to do some bracket racing tomorrow in the 454 long bed 74 Chevy. We'll just call it that for today.